Welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to provide you with an update on my debt-free journey, and I'm going to be using the website undebt.it. I learned about this website through some budgeting and debt freedom videos on YouTube, and I've just started using it like yesterday. I went in and set up all my debts into their little interface or whatever, and I've really been enjoying it so far. So I'm hoping that this is going to allow me to stay on track. Full disclosure, I have recorded this video 2 times already. The most recent time I recorded it, I did not have my microphone on. So I'm hopeful that I can still be as thorough in this video as I was in that previous one without being too long-winded. But basically, I just want to show you this is what the homepage for Undebt looks like. So yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to go to my dashboard. I'm going to kick things off like this. So the first thing I want to point out really is obvious. This particular system estimates that my debt-free journey is going to be October 2022. My current debt balance is roughly $50,300. I will say that my debts, as you will see throughout the video, is mostly like credit card installment loans, and then I do have a auto loan from where I financed my vehicle that I purchased last year. But for the most part, I have mostly credit card debt. I do not have any student loans. I do not have a mortgage. So really, the bulk of my monthly salary honestly goes toward debt payments. I don't have any true living expenses because I'm not currently paying like rent or utilities. I have a very unique living situation I'd rather not go into, but I'm not paying any like living expenses currently. Most of my check does go to my debt and a few other expenses that I have as well, but I do not have any student loan debt. So this $50,000 is credit cards and my car loan. As you can see in this little top section, which I really do like, I have 9 active debts. Really, the most important thing for you to know is my minimum payments are around $1,600. I am anticipating making a $2,400 snowball payment this month because I am expecting a little bit of additional income. And so far, I've paid off about 15% of my total debt. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to go through each of my debts, show you where I started from, and just kind of show you what things look like on my end. So the very first debt I want to look at is this Klarna Les Mills debt. It started off, my highest balance or starting balance was $703.23. This particular bill is due on the 26th, and the monthly payment is $29.31. I will never, ever, 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 ever in my life finance anything with Klarna. Klarna is not user friendly at all. I really do not like the app. And the biggest issue I have with Klarna is that in the past, I've made more payments than just my monthly payment. But if I don't make the $29.31 monthly payment, I don't get credit for any extra payments I make. So I've made, for instance, in the past, I made a $30 payment or one or two $30 payments toward this particular bill. And although I've gotten credit for it, I've still been responsible for that $29.31 monthly payment, which I personally am not used to having to do something like that. But I was wondering why, like, I kept getting a notice like 2 or 3 days before the due date that I hadn't made a monthly payment. And I'm like, well, I paid y'all $60 this month. What do you mean I haven't made a monthly payment? I made more than a monthly payment. But because I did not make the actual monthly payment, it still was requiring me to make that monthly payment. So actually, like when I go on the app, I have 2 options. Well, 3 options. I can pay the monthly payment, I can pay a custom amount, or I can pay the total amount, like pay it off completely, which I will be doing this month thanks to some extra income that I have coming in. But in the past, again, when I paid extra money, so when I made snowflake payments, those payments have not been used as a substitution or to satisfy the minimum payment that I have to make anyway. So I just don't like that at all. Fortunately, I paid off about 30% of this installment agreement, and it's more so of a loan than it is a and I want to change it. It's more so of a loan than it is a credit card. So there's like no credit limit. Well, I think I do have a credit limit, but I'm not sure what it is. I think it's like around $1,500. But it's not credit in the terms where if I pay it off this month, I'm definitely not going to be tempted to run it up again, which I'm a-okay with. Fortunately, there's 0% interest on this. I got this because I purchased a Les Mills on demand and I'm probably not saying that correctly, but I purchased a subscription to Les Mills on demand for a year. I think you pay for a year, you got an extra 3 months, so you actually got 15 months. And then I also bought some of their weight equipment. And to be honest, I can literally count on one hand how many times I've used my body pump bar and my and the weights and everything. I could have paid all $703, but I was thinking at the time, oh, $30 a month is not that bad, but $30 a month is bad, and I wish that I had not gotten on a financing plan. But of course, I did, and I'm ready to get rid of it. So this will be paid off this month. Let's go back to the dashboard. And the next one is an iPhone loan. And this, of course, is also an installment loan. This 844 is actually not the highest balance. That's not the balance I started out and I can't remember. I think it was more along the lines of like 1,500 or so. But as I mentioned with the Klarna loan, I would never do another installment loan again. I have just gotten so tired of paying the $60 a month for my iPhone. This is the second loan that's going to get paid off or second debt that's going to get paid off in August. There is a 0% interest rate, so my $60.33 goes directly toward the overall balance, and this will be paid off this month. So I'm looking forward to paying this off. It'll actually get paid off next Friday. More than likely I'm going to have to call the finance company. I think it's Citizens One or something that Apple uses. I'm so looking forward to getting rid of this bill in this particular month. It's going to definitely free up some money, and super duper excited about it. This will be another loan that bites the dust. The third loan that's going to get paid off this month is actually a Discover card. I actually signed up for this card or applied for this card back in the spring of this year with the intentions of using this card to do a balance transfer. I have another Discover card that I've had for some years now, and I did not want to close that account because I've had that account since 2014. And of course, the length of your credit history affects your credit score. And that is the oldest card on my account, on my credit report now. I actually had an Old Navy card that I was an authorized user on for many years. I know since I was probably in middle school. Unfortunately, they closed that credit card account because it was not being used. It had gone inactive for a certain period of time. So my intention with getting this Discover Green card, was to use it for a balance transfer. And I did not use it for its intended purpose. So here I am with some debt that I just racked up from swiping the card, and I'm going to pay this off this month. I started with a balance of $1358.22. I paid $200 on it when I got paid at the end of July. So now my balance is $1158.22. The monthly payment is $35. The interest rate is technically around 20.5%, but I have 0% interest until October. So as you can see, I've designated or indicated that I'm working with the promotional interest rate through October here. So, and I have not shown you this on the other debts, but when I look at my amortization table, you see where I'm the extra income that I spoke of earlier, I'm going to be using as a snowflake payment that's going to cover the remaining balance on this particular card. But yeah, this is a credit card that's going to be paid off. I actually want to write myself a note that this account was canceled. And I'm so excited to get rid of this particular account. I've already paid off about 15% of it, using about 60% of my credit limit. But again, this is going to be paid off at the end of this month, and I'm looking forward to it. The next account that I have on my radar is another installment loan or credit line. Actually, it's an installment loan, so I need to change that with a firm. Because I financed my Peloton that I got last August. Again, this is one of those situations where I really should have paid up front for it because I did have the money, but I was distracted by the low, quote unquote, monthly payment of $68.70. So I ended up signing up for a 3-year or 39-month financing plan. I like Affirm much better than I like Klarna's installment or financing plans because the Affirm app is so much more intuitive. As you can see, I paid off about 30% of it. I have about 70% more to go. But this one is going to be paid off in January. So I haven't said this, but I do expect some extra income every year in August, January, and June. I don't always count on the June because that's very specific to what's going on in my life. But typically in August and January, I get some extra money. And um, now that I've learned to take out a little bit to cover my taxes on the extra income, whatever's left after I pay taxes, I put straight towards debt. And I've had to come to terms or the realization that I would rather be uncomfortable by not having as much of a cushion as I would like than to be uncomfortable having to pay monthly minimum payments on debts, on things that I purchased years ago that I probably don't even have in my possession anymore. But I'm still paying on those things. So I have not, I'm being a lot more intentional about putting any extra money towards debt. I credit the pandemic for teaching me that because things are so uncertain. You never know from month to month how things are going to look. And it may be, I just fear, fortunately, thank the Lord, I haven't had to face this fear of not having money to cover the monthly payments for something that I've basically got myself entangled with. But that there is a possibility. And again, the pandemic really opened my eyes to the fact that nothing is for certain, and being financially secure and stable is so important. So yeah, that's where I stand with that. Next debt that I have is actually my PayPal credit card. I'm so proud of myself and the progress that I made on this credit card alone. This account, as you can see, has been canceled. My credit limit was $4,250. At the beginning of this month, I was basically at my credit limit of 4,000. My starting balance at the beginning of this month was $4,039.96, and I did say that my starting balance at the beginning of this month was this amount, and today is $2,480.03. I was able to pay off nearly $1,600 by selling some luxury items. My monthly payment is actually around $40, but I'm paying like 4 times as much just so I can go ahead and start paying this off. I think my interest rate is about 24%, but I actually am dealing with um, deferred interest until October. So that's why you see this that I'm paying no interest until October. And then beginning in October, I'm going to start having to pay interest. I will say these interest amounts are not necessarily accurate because if you know anything about PayPal credit, you get 0% financing for 6 months, and interest is accruing over those 6 months. But if you pay the balance in full within the 6 months, you don't have to pay the interest. But if the balance is not paid off in 6 months, you pay any accrued interest and then any interest until the purchase is paid off. And unfortunately, I made several purchases at the beginning of the year. So I know that my 6 months, I have a 6 month period that ends in October, another 6 month period that ends in November, and one more that ends in December, and one that ends in January. So basically, I'm going to be responsible for paying interest in October, November, December for those purchases I made at the beginning of the year. And of course, that 23% is on each of those purchases. So this interest, and not only am I paying interest starting in those months, but I also am responsible for the interest that has accrued since the beginning of the 6 months. So the interest on this is going to look really wild, which is another reason why I've been throwing so much money at this PayPal credit card, because my goal is to try to get those balances paid off so that I don't have to pay the interest that has accrued. So that means at the end of January, roughly, this particular debt will be paid off. Then I have a Sleep Number credit card. I purchased a Sleep Number bed earlier this year. I can't say that I would do it ever again. I just kind of feel like the beds are overrated. I started out with a balance of $3,830.53. My balance today is a little over $3,000. So I paid about 20% of the balance, and I have about 80% to go. I'm using about 55% of my credit limit, which is $5,500. More than likely, I will cancel this card. Again, I'll be making the minimum payments up until January, and then I have the extra Snowball payment in addition to the monthly payment that will get this particular debt paid completely off. And as you can see, of course, this is another 0% interest. Apple. I got this Apple card December of 2019. Oh boy, I wish I had not, but will say that I really do like what Apple does as far as their interface in the app. I don't like that the only way for you to pay your bill is through the app, because you can't link it to like other websites. So like most of my debts, with the exception of the Apple card, I've been able to link to my Every Dollar account because I have the Every Dollar Plus app. And unfortunately, Apple does not allow those integrations, so I'm not able to pull in my current Apple balance or any transactions that I made. So I've had to really stay on top of what I'm spending on my Apple Card. Right now, my balance on my Apple Card is close to the credit limit of 4,000. I'm sitting at $3,740 roughly. As you can see, I'm at almost 100% credit utilization, and I've not really paid anything down on this. This particular card is going to be paid off in March of 2021. I make a monthly payment of $100. Apple likes for you to pay your balances in full each month, but I'm just going to be honest, I don't even make $3,700 a month, so there's no possible way I could pay that off. But basically, I'm gonna get a huge chunk of it paid off um, through that little extra income that I'm expecting in January, and then I'll be making some more Snowball payments, and this will be paid off completely in March of 2021. And so the very last credit card that I'll have to pay off once I pay all of these things off is the very first Discover card that I got, which I mentioned earlier. I've had since 2014. My credit limit is $13,000, and my balance is currently around 12,400. No judgment at all, please. My monthly payment is actually around 250, but I have been paying 460 because, as you can see here, if I were to only pay 250, then most of that payment would go straight to interest. So I've had to increase my payment amount to kind of pay to cover the interest charge as well as the monthly payment. Unfortunately, I have no promotional or deferred interest at the time. I haven't paid anything on it yet. So basically, as you can see here, starting in September, which is actually, well, I'll get to that. In September, from September 2020 up until, okay, so basically September 2020 up until February, I'll be paying about as much as I pay in interest as I pay in principal. But once March 2021 comes around and I've paid off the Apple Card, I'll be able to put a lot more money down as far as the total payment, and more of the money will actually go to principal than it goes to interest, and this debt will be paid completely off by September 2021. And I'm so excited about that because that means around this time next year I'll be completely credit card debt free, and the only at that point the only debt that I'll have will be my car loan. And I purchased a car last year in 2019. My balance was 29,000. Well, my starting balance was close to 30,000. I'm down to a little under 25,000. My monthly payment is 520, and my interest rate is 8.01. Not the best at all. Again, I went into the car buying experience. I thought I was prepared, but had I known then what I know now, I definitely would have tried to have gotten pre-approved, than to have taken the financing offered through the company that I'm using. Um, but as you can see, about a third of my payments actually goes towards interest each month. I think at the time, I will say that I checked my credit with Credit Karma shortly before going in to purchase my vehicle, and Credit Karma had me at like a 710. It was like 710, 720. But once I actually got my finance and everything, my score was actually in the 680s, which I was so shocked, which is the one reason my interest rate wasn't the best. And I was just really I was really flabbergasted, you all. And I promise, like, once I signed the papers, like, I literally cried. Because something else I did mention is my term is actually 72 months, which means I have until 2025 to pay off my car. And that just scares me. And to see that this is going to be my last debt, and it's actually going to be paid off by October 2022, which is about 2 years from now, and about 3 years earlier than what my term is, makes me so excited. But again, it just really, this is one particular debt that I like my car, but would I spend $520 on a month on it? I can't say that I would. Um, but again, it was all a learning experience. I needed a new vehicle. More than likely, I probably could have gotten away with a different vehicle than what I got. I do have a Honda Accord. I kind of wish that I had gotten something a little bit cheaper, but the car I had prior to the car I have now was also a Honda. It was a Civic. It was just not. It was costing a lot of money to repair, and part of me wishes I had just gotten another Civic and not gotten an Accord, because I like Honda because they're reliable. But again, I'm not sure if I would have spent the type of money that I spent on my car if I had to do it all over again. But you know, we live and we learn. Again, no judgment, please. It's already hard enough for me to put my business out here like this because I grew up in a household where we just didn't talk about finances, and you see where that has gotten me. And I just want to show you two more quick things before I get off here, and I do want to share like what prompted me to start this journey. So the two things I want to show you are my the additional payments. So you may have heard me mention several times and earlier in this conversation that there are about 3 times a year where I actually get a little bit of additional income. So this is these that income will be used as snowflakes. So you know, snowflakes are just any money in addition to what you typically pay on your debt that you can put towards your debt. So I'm not sure why this shows up like this, but in August, so next week, next Friday actually, I'm expecting an extra $2,400 that I will um be able to put towards debt. So that's why I'm going to be able to knock out 3 debts this month. And then in January 2021, I'm expecting close to $6,000. That's how those other 3 debts will be eliminated. And then in June, I'm expecting close to $5,000. That's how I'm going to be able to put a dent in my Discover Purple card. And then beginning in August, I'm actually going to be able to put an extra $100 towards every debt. Now, that's going to be my Discover card, and then eventually my card note. Um, and I just actually put this one here. $100 doesn't seem like a lot, but what I plan to do in August of next year is to go back into this spreadsheet or this system and actually increase my monthly payment amount for my Discover card and then eventually my car note, and just remove this snowflake altogether, unless, of course, I actually do have a larger snowflake amount to put toward debt. But I just kind of wanted that there as a placeholder, you know, for future reference. But again, every time I get extra money, I'm going to start putting it toward debt. I'm not going to try to worry about putting it toward a savings goal because, again, I cannot be trusted. I would much rather put the money toward debt so that I know I'm getting closer to my goal of being debt free by October 2022. The other thing I want to show you all was the debt snowball table. I'll be honest, this table kind of confuses me a little bit, but I know why it's set up this way. Anything in blue shows payments that have already been made for the month. I've already paid all of these this month, but this isn't accurate for the simple fact that I'm not going to be able to put $1,499.72 on my Apple credit card when I get paid at the end of this month, because when I get paid at the end of this month, part of that month's check goes to pay for minimum payments for the following month. So it's not like I'm still going to be responsible for all of these. Basically, I'm going to be paying the 193.34, the 165, 161, 100, 465, 1998. I'm going to be paying all of these amounts in at the end of August for the due dates in September, because I only get paid once a month. So I use my whatever month I'm in, on the day I get paid, I use that money to pay anything due the following month. And that's just how it works out for me. So again, I'm not going to be able to pay this $14.99.72 on my Apple card. So this is going to be it's going to be off just a little bit. I'm not sure how that's going to affect me in the long run. I tried this start next month thing, and yeah, that's not doing what I need to do either. So I kind of have to figure this out. I may have to go watch a tutorial to see, like what this, like how you actually read this table. But just know there's no possible way that I can pay $14.99, because I won't even have I only have $2,400 extra, and that $2,400 will only cover these 3 debts, which again I already paid the minimum balance or the minimum payments for, which is why they have the blue zeros here. But by the time I pay these 3 debts, that $2,400 additional payment is already covered. So I won't have any extra money to put towards these debts. And like I said, all of these debts I've already paid the minimums on. So again, it's indicated by the blue zeros. But I don't really know how they're calculating this particular amount, but I just know that's not accurate actually. So I have to go back in and try to figure that out. I have to go watch a video on this. It's interesting though that this is showing my debt-free date as January 2023. I'm not sure where that's coming from, because as you can see, I'm going to have 3 debts paid off at the end of August, 3 more debts paid off at the end of January. This will be paid off in March. Discover will be paid off in September of next year. And then my car loan is going to be paid off in October of 2022. So I'm not sure why this is doing this up here. If you have an idea, if you're familiar with Undebt.it, please leave me a comment and let me know what might be happening there. With this particular feature, you can indicate like which debt payment method you want to use. Of course, as I said, I'm following Dave Ramsey. So I'm using the debt snowball method, and there are other methods here for me to use as well. I looked at the debt avalanche. The debt avalanche is where you pay your highest interest rate first. So in my case, I think the highest interest rate would be, my Discover card. But and paying the highest interest rate will lower the overall amount of interest you pay. But as you can see here, there's just a lot more variability in when I will have my debts paid off. And I personally thrive on, I felt like seeing the small wins that come with the debt snowball was going to motivate me more than the ultimate idea of paying less in interest by doing the debt avalanche. Because, as Dave Ramsey says, it's not a mathematical issue that I have as much as it is a behavioral issue. Like, I know that I'm paying a lot of money in interest, but that hasn't stopped me from raking up debt. But now if I see that, it's going to actually take some hard work and effort to pay this off. But to see those small wins along the way, that's going to motivate me personally a lot more. So that's why I chose to do the debt snowball. And I know some people may not agree, but I think it's what's going to work best for me. Of course, the pandemic has shown me, again, the importance of being financially secure and stable. So hence, I'm really taking this journey a lot more seriously. And I am looking for ways to make additional money, but I have to be reasonable with what I can do to make a little bit more money, given the time constraints I have with being a full-time worker and a full-time student. And I am in a PhD program, so that does take quite a bit of time. So yeah, this is basically, why I'm here. I have to get a little uncomfortable. This has made me very uncomfortable, actually, but I'm in this situation because I made a few poor choices, but moving forward, I'm going to be a lot more responsible about my money, because it is very painful to see such a large proportion of or percentage of my check go towards debt, and I don't have a lot to live on. And as Dave Ramsey says, the borrower is slave to the lender, and I definitely have felt that way, and I am just, quite frankly, sick and tired of being enslaved. This is not the life that I want to live, and I'm just looking so forward to October 2022. And I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep myself motivated. I'm looking forward to being able to update you all next week when I'm able to put that $2,400 snowball payment toward completely paying off those 3 debts that I mentioned before, and just keeping you all updated on my journey. I appreciate all of the positive thoughts and good vibes you send my way. If you stayed until the end, thank you so much. And thanks for all the support. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will definitely see you in an update video very soon. So see you in my next video. Bye.